Hey everybody, welcome to Geek Addicts. Hello everybody and welcome to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast where the topics don't matter and nobody's a winner. I am Bill and this is Matt. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Bill?
I'm tired. This has been I don't know what's been up with these last few weeks, but holy shit. It has been a nightmare. But that's
I'm
fine.
with you. I briefly mentioned it before we started recording, but we're gonna have to skip our segment this week because I am a bad noodle and I did not do my assignment. Because I had some time set aside for today to do it, and so I don't know if I mentioned it before. I had ordered a Retroid Pocket. I gotten the G2 model, and it happened to arrive like right as that part in time that I was going to watch it like started, like that little like hour window. So I've been spending that whole time just trying to like set it up. I literally like right before I clicked on the link to go to StreamYards, I had just opened up the first game that I was able to get going on it. Just to test it and get it working. So that's my bad. It's entirely my fault. But I'm excited. There's actually a funny story behind that too, because I wasn't sure if I was going to get it or not.
Yeah.
Because I ordered it not this past Friday, but the Friday before that, and it said it was going to take like 3 weeks, but obviously it didn't. But I was following the tracking the whole time because I've been doing a bunch of research. I'm really excited to mess with it. And this morning I wake up and there's a notification on my phone saying your thing will arrive today. It's out for delivery. Like, yeah, sweet. But I go and I look at the details, like went to this location, went to that, went to that, and it said out for delivery, and it said the name of my town, but Vermont. There's like the same town name, but Vermont, and I was like, oh no. What? I thought it was gonna get delivered to some rando's house in Vermont, but it did end up getting delivered. Unfortunately, it was like 10 minutes after both of my kids came home. I was like, fuck. So now I gotta try and fucking figure out how to set it up while I got kids tugging me 2 different ways. So
Life,
Yeah. But I got it going. I got a PS2 emulator on there. I just set up the BIOS and imported my ROMs, and I've tested Budokai Tenkaichi 3 because that is one that I generally find to be one of the more taxing games for PS2 emulation. And I did one quick fight right before this, and it seemed to be working fine. So I'm excited to really get into it.
That's good. Oh, yeah. It's been quite a bit since we recorded because I went to Texas last week. That was a thing.
How was that?
That was good. I watched cars go fast, got burned. I think you can still see the remains on my arm. Sort of, not really. Probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, classic, going down south. It was like really nice and warm. Came back up here. It was cold and gross again.
Yesterday was really nice out when the sun was out.
Yeah, it's been hit or miss. Like it was like okay this morning, but then it was like gross and rainy the rest of the day.
Yeah, about right.
Yeah, I went through TSA. That was fun, I guess you could say. Going through Boston wasn't super bad. That was okay, I guess. That was about as hectic as Boston usually is. Coming back from Texas, though, holy shit! Like that was bad. Like we showed up and got in the line, and they literally told us like if you had gotten in the line any later, you would have missed your flight. And I was like, oh, that's great.
about right.
Um, there was this like one lady who was like gonna miss her flight and was trying to cut the TSA line, and I'm just like looking at her. I'm like, lady, nobody in this line is gonna let you cut because if anyone lets you cut, they're gonna have to deal with all those angry people behind them who will probably murder them. So it's not worth it.
No kidding.
Like airports are a lawless place. Like you just kind of have to. It's every man for themselves there, pretty much.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, it was okay. Other than that, I still am not really a big fan of flying, but
I don't blame you.
it is what it is.
It's not my favorite thing. I haven't flown since Cindy and I went on our honeymoon. That was the last time I flew. And I've only actually flown like a handful. Like I could count the number of times I've flown on one hand, but it's I mean, I'm glad I've done it, and I'm sure it won't be the last time I ever do it. But I'm not in a huge rush to either way. So
I didn't fly until I think 2022 was the first time I ever flew a plane, and
flew in a plane. You mean
what?
Flew in a plane. You mean?
Yes.
You made it sound like you're piloting out there.
You know, sometimes you got to step up. I mean,
Microsoft Flight Simulator prepared me for this.
Did it, or did it just prepare all these children in how to replicate 9/11? Anyways.
Oh, God.
I swear to God, that's what most kids did with that goddamn program back in the day.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I know. I've flown pretty much every year since, well, at least once a year. It's it never gets easier. It's just kind of a thing that you just kind of you do. You're never prepared. Always something happens.
Classic.
But I can say now I've gone to Texas, so that's like the farthest south and west I've gone at this point.
There you go. Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was my last. That's why we couldn't record last week because I was not around.
Yeah. Well, luckily we had an episode or two in the backlog, so it's just for those kinds of moments.
Yes.
So I have finished the last of the CW stuff that I had previously seen. So going forward, I'm in completely new territory.
Get ready for a lot of shit.
Yeah, well. I'm already kind of starting to see the cracks a little bit towards the end of this last wave.
At least for Arrow and Flash, you're going to start seeing a lot of shit.
Well, Arrow was weird with this last season because, like, I just felt like so underwhelmed by the villain. There's Ricardo Diaz. Because, like,
sure.
I don't even know if he's a comic character.
I don't.
It literally, because we go through the gauntlet, right? The season 1, Malcolm Merlin, former member of the League of Assassins. Like, second season, Slade Wilson, Deathstroke. Third season, Ra's al Ghul. Fourth season, Damien Dark. Fifth season, Prometheus. Sixth season, low-level drug dealer.
Like, you know what I always realized looking back on Arrow? They clearly couldn't use Batman, so they just made Arrow like Batman Light a lot of the time because like half those villains.
He's Batman with a hoodie and a bow and arrow. It's literally how they portray him in this.
Well, yeah, because they don't go into his like social aspects nearly as much in Arrow as they did in comics. Because he's basically just another Batman at this point early on before they
pretty much
completely lose the plot in that show.
Pretty much. I'm still enjoying it, and I really liked Crisis on Earth X. That was really fun. It was the first time out of all the crossovers. It was the first time where each episode, like, you know how like with CW shows they'll do like, you know, like the big crossovers. They'll have like part 1 on Arrow, part 2 on Flash, and so on.
Yep.
For all the previous ones, they very much felt like the Arrow episodes was an Arrow episode. The Flash episode was a Flash episode. Even though all these other characters are there. Earth X was like, no, this is just like one big mega movie, and there's no real like rhyme or reason to the order of them, or like there's no specific Arrow plots in the Arrow episode or Flash plots in the Flash episode. It was just like, no, we're just telling a big crossover movie, but in segments. And I was like, all right, I like that. It was good. And I'm assuming that's how they do them going forward from there, but I hope so, honestly.
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember. It's been a long time.
Fair enough.
I think that's how Crisis on Infinite Earths works. But
Well, that's not this coming season, but the one after that. Because I know that happened during the final season of Arrow.
yeah.
So it's going well so far, though. I'm still enjoying the ride. I mean, we'll see how things go because now I'm at a point where everything I watch is going to be new to me.
That's good.
But I could be forgiving if with these kinds of things if there's like heart in it. So it depends on how much heart is in it.
We'll see. Arrow takes a nosedive. That's for all I remember because I remember I hopped off that train really fast.
Fair. That's fair. But yeah, I finished up those seasons, and then still in the middle of my anime catch up.
Yeah, I forget where
current episodes.
I caught up on most of my stuff yesterday, or was it Friday? I don't remember. Either way, I'm caught up on Jujutsu, Frieren, and Vigilantes.
I'm caught up on Vigilantes and Frieren. I haven't gotten to Jujutsu Kaisen yet.
You could ask me what happened, and my response would be, I don't remember, because it literally left no impact on me.
Well, the lawyer guy is in one of them, right?
I remember that happening, but I don't remember what happened around it. My brain was kind of like, I've really reached that acceptance point of I'm like, I just don't think I like the show that much.
That's kind of just the way the culling games works. It's just, I mean, it's just Jujutsu Kaisen in a nutshell. It's just confusing as shit.
I'm just like watching. I'm like, this is pretty, I guess. That's about it. Is that a lawyer?
I mean,
oh, that's weird.
That's why, like, it's all the people who say like, "Oh, Jujutsu Kaisen's way better than Demon Slayer." I'm like,
no, it's not. They're both pretty mid.
I'm not on the same level to me. They both have ups and pros and cons, but at the end of the day, I don't think either of them would do nearly as well if it wasn't for the pretty flashing lights.
Soul piss people off, but I think Soul Leveling's more compelling.
I mean,
and that's just a power fantasy.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, at least in that case, it knows what it is.
It knows what it is, and it the story's easy enough to follow. That's like all that really matters to me.
See, JJK is just confusing, and then Demon Slayer, it's easy enough to follow, but it seems like they didn't give it enough time to like there's so many eggs up in the air right now, and they're all gonna end up on the floor, just smashed and broken. I don't even have to watch Infinity Castle to know that.
Yeah. When you were watching Frieren, were you like kind of off put by how like dark it got from that one episode?
I mean, it's kind of always been dark, and they've been setting it up because they did the big like, oh, we're going into like the really dangerous areas, but
it was still mostly lighthearted because like we have that one episode where Frieren has to pay off her tolls, and it's just like this kind of goofy episode. Then we're in this episode where it's just like straight up an entire village has just been murdered and wiped off the earth, and I'm just like, oh
yeah.
It was a literal Scott the Woz like. Did I miss a page? I was like, at first I thought I was watching the wrong anime, and then a Frieren appears from the sky, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're here.
Yeah, no kidding.
That was
I did not remember. I did not remember the characters that we started that episode with.
No, I didn't either.
They were like, oh, I remember you from the mage thing. I was like, oh, okay, that's who they are. Okay.
Well, we missed a week too with Frieren episode, so it was kind of a delay. So when we kind of watched that, I was like. I was trying to remember what happened. I was like, "Oh, great."
Well, that's irrelevant to me because I'm catching up on like the new episodes like once every 2 weeks, pretty much. So
fair. Frieren's been good though. It's really sad. It's going to be over in 3 episodes.
Yeah. Vigilantes only has 1 or 2 left, right?
3 more. Yeah, Vigilantes. I'm surprised. We literally got like. The biggest tease ever with that Knuckle Duster reappearance because he's still not back.
Yeah, I know. He's just like, hey, I'm back. Oh, I gotta shave, and then we don't see him again for the whole rest of the season.
Well, we get the awesome Izawa backstory arc, which I really liked, and then it's like, oh, now we need an arc to make you actually like Captain Celebrity, and I'm just like,
yeah, right. I love that whole bit where he's just like, oh, here's a picture of my wife and my child. Look at how amazing they are. And then he does the surprise call, and I'm just like, oh, this is not going to go well.
Yeah.
It didn't go where I thought it was going to go, but it was still pretty great.
Yeah, it was. That's funny. I love the, what's her name? The lie detector lady. She's just fun.
Also, I had no idea that Captain Celebrity was played by Sean Schemmel. until that last episode I watched.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%. It's Captain Celebrity is Sean Schemmel.
Well, that's a fucking mind blower right there.
Hey, I don't even remember what it was, but he like said something and like inflected in such a way. I'm like, that's fucking Goku.
I have to look this up now.
He's one of those voices where like he has range, but like if he hits a certain like syllable, it's like, oh yeah, that's Goku. Like, no question.
Oh God, you're right. God, he can do more than just fucking Goku.
So now we need a scene with All Might and Captain Celebrity, and we can have that going for us.
Why do I feel like it's not going to happen? Why do I feel like they don't actually like each other that much?
I feel like that's kind of up in the air. I feel like if for like public appearance, they try to like act like they're like super cool. I feel like they're probably friendly, but they're not like besties.
Well, just Schemmel always comes off like such a dickhead lately, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy is not that likable.
Okay, it's kind of unhinged, which is funny too because I've heard like interviews and stuff with him where he's talking about like studying Taoism and shit. I'm like, dude, you not practice what you preach, man. It's just like, it doesn't seem like you're doing a very good job with it.
Well, I would say never meet your heroes sometimes because it's kind of like you see stuff like that and I'm like, geesh. Like, but you know, it is what it is. Damn, I didn't actually even realize that was him. That's funny.
Yeah, especially because like he doesn't do like a lot. Like at least not with like specifically like Funimation stuff or Crunchyroll, I guess. Like he pretty much exclusively does Goku, and there's like a few little things he'll do here and there, but like he's not like Sabbath where he's like doing everything under the sun.
I'm actually curious just looking at his recent roles. His most recent role was Captain Celebrity, and then before that it was Sparking Zero. All those characters.
Which came out like what, 2 years ago?
A year ago, 2 years, yeah.
Year and a half, something like that. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like he doesn't do like a ton.
He played a Pokemon in one of the Pokemon things recently.
Well, I know he played Lucario.
Yeah, he played like some random.
That was like way back.
In like the Arceus Chronicles.
And he played Jimmy, aka Gold.
Oh yeah, that.
And yeah, he's the main villain in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time crossover movie.
I don't think I ever watched that one. I should probably do that at some point.
It was fine. Honestly, the abridged version is better, but
fair enough.
It's not fantastic. I don't like seeing the old monsters in CG. It just looks wrong.
Fair. Yeah, looking through his voice work, he does a lot of like random shit, like for the most, and then Goku every fight.
Yeah,
as you scroll down.
Video games, I've noticed.
He does a lot of video games, but it's like random shit.
Yeah,
it's weird. Yeah. Anyways, well, that blew my mind today. It didn't even sound like him at first. I didn't even notice.
It's because he's doing like the like over the top like old school DC superhero voice the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just so used to him doing the Goku voice at this point that it's like it just anything else sounds weird.
Well, to me, like there's a very few roles that I've noticed him in before. Like he was a minor character in the original Berserk anime. And he was the mind reading guy in Yu Yu Hakusho. Those are like the only things I've ever really noticed him in.
He is
until now.
One of his weirder roles I know is he plays Black Doom in Shadow the Hedgehog, the video game, and he just does a shitty Dr. Claw impression the entire time.
Oh, you know, talking about like like character impressions or whatever. So Cindy and I have. I don't know if I mentioned it. We've been playing the Destroy All Humans 2 remake, and we pretty much came to the conclusion that obviously, like Pox is just Invader Zim. It's the same actor. It's Invader Zim.
I know his name. I can't remember. Right now.
But Crypto
Richard Horvitz. That's what it was.
Sydney pointed this out, and I think she's 100% right. The actor who's playing Crypto is doing a Jack Nicholson impression, and I think they wanted to get Jack Nicholson for it. And for some reason they couldn't. So the guy that they got for it, they're like, yeah, just do it, Jack Nicholson. I don't know if this is actually the case. I'm just making assumptions, but like, listen to his performance, and you will not be able to unhear Jack Nicholson in there.
He's Crypto is played by J. Grant Albrich. What else has he done?
That sounds very familiar.
He was in Bayonetta, Metal Gear, Brutal Legend, Prince of Persia. He looks like he mostly does video game stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. He was in Happy Feet, the video game. He played Egbert the Elder. Let's go.
Nice.
Let
me just...
God, he plays a lot of shit in like a bunch of games.
Cryptosporidium. Destroy all humans. Okay. It turns out she was 100% right, because the first thing that came up when I typed in, it said he is well known for performing the role as an impression of actor Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. Oh, so and
it's literally what he's doing.
And in that shitty third game on 360 and PS3 that no one liked, he apparently plays a character named Jack Tripleson. So I think that he's spot on there.
So okay, so yeah, it was very intentional apparently.
Yeah,
that's pretty great. But no, I love that game. It's so much fun. It's so goofy.
Yeah, Richard Horvitz is just doing his normal voice, which is just Zim. So that makes sense.
I love it. But yeah.
Speaking of, we mentioned solo leveling. The final volume came out recently.
Oh, it did? What was it? Volume 15 or 16?
15.
15. Okay.
I read it. It's mostly. It's more of the side story stuff. It's basically just a follow up, like getting ready for Ragnarok. That's basically what it was.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And they already have ads for Ragnarok in the back, and I'm like, oh, great, another thing.
About right. It's about right.
Yeah. I was just saying, I grabbed that and then a few other small manga here and there.
I did grab a couple more comics.
Nice.
A couple more compacts. I got the Nightwing one that just came out recently.
Oh, Leaping into the Light.
Yes, and
that is a great read.
I also grabbed that Flash one that just came out as well.
That's a fine book. It's not great, but it's okay.
That's fair. I just wanted to have one, I wanted to have a Flash. Yeah. I saw like it was literally coming out like 3 days later, so I was like, I'll just order it, whatever. Oh, and I got that last volume of Super, so we're good to go for that.
Nice.
And it is actually a good thing that we decided to push Watchmen, because I still haven't finished it. I still have like 4 chapters left.
Yeah, it's
a dense book. It's very dense.
Yeah, it's very much Alan Moore. And it very much makes use of that 9-panel layout.
Well, the in between chapters too are like the little bits in between, because there's always like full on like 4 full typed like just text pages of just like, here's an excerpt from this fictional book from the world, and here's like this character's like fucking medical chart or whatever, and all this different stuff on it. Like I was like, oh, okay. So like I am like, when I go back and reread it like later, I might just skip over those parts, but not every time. But if I just want to experience the story, I'll just fucking skip over that stuff. But the first time I want to like really delve into it. So
yeah, it's a very dark book.
I can tell. I think I just left off at the part where they. All right, help me out here. How do you pronounce that dude's name?
Rorschach
or Rorschach or something.
He's the question, but they couldn't use the question, so he's just legally distinct the question.
Okay. Well, either way, they just broke him out of jail. And what's her face just got spirited away, I guess, by Dr. Manhattan.
You'll notice that all the characters are basically, they're just reskins of other characters, because originally they were going to use a bunch of these characters DC acquired as the characters in the story, but then DC was like, no, we want to use those later, so do something else. And they made all these like legally distinct copies, like Because I think
Night Owl is just legally distinct Batman.
Yeah. And then like Captain Dr. Manhattan is basically just Captain Atom. Like only with his dick hanging out. Because holy shit.
He's just always hanging brain.
I was like, you read that now and you're like, oh yeah. This was a thing.
It is. Oh yeah. I love that. What he did to overstep the line with what's her name there, Lori, because they're dating for so long, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna make copies of myself and just run a train on you." And she's like, "Whoa! I'm just waking up here. All right, fuck this. I don't need this." Yeah. I don't understand how this could have gone so wrong.
Yeah.
You gotta ask first, man. You don't just do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Naruto asks Hinata before he just pulls out the shadow clones. You know they do it. Don't look at me like that.
No, I'm just like I'm sitting here thinking like who says he has to ask? How do you know she's not the one that's asking for it?
Fair.
You know those two are secretly probably like the most fucked up out of everybody in that village.
Oh, I bet.
Oh man.
But that's why they have such a good relationship. She's very understanding.
She just exists at this point. I've seen enough Naruto to know they forgot what to do with her for most of that goddamn show.
That reminds me, I'm like 5 chapters behind on Boruto. I haven't read it recently.
It's all right. I still have not finished that anime.
I have. I actually did. Well, I skipped a lot of the filler, but I did finish the stuff that matters. But on the subject of manga, part 2 of Chainsaw Man is ending in like a week or 2.
I heard it's the whole story is ending.
I was seeing mixed things. I was seeing some places saying it was the whole thing, some places saying it was just part 2. I'm gonna hope that it's just part 2, but I also don't understand how they would make this work.
I'm kind of
the way that last chapter led off, so I don't know.
I haven't got there yet, but where I'm at into, because I'm only up to volume 20. I'm pretty sure once this is done, I think he should just end it because the fans are already turning on it at this point. I think just let it die, like let it end before you.
I don't know. I think it still has room to grow. I don't want to see him left off where it left off. I
just don't know where they're gonna go. Like that story has lost the fucking plot so hard at this point. Like,
yeah. Do you think there's a devil?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Because I mean, people are afraid of devils, right? You think there'd be a devil for devils? I'd have to imagine.
The thing about Chainsaw Man that drives me kind of nuts is, spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't read Chainsaw Man, but once you get to part 2, you realize real fast, like, everything in part 1 didn't fucking matter. Like, literally.
It really didn't.
None of that mattered. Like, it just completely, like, forget that. None of that.
Now just toss that aside.
Like, all those characters, aside from the scared one, they're all dead. Who cares? Like, and who knows what even happened to the one that lived? She's gone. So who cares?
I mean, honestly, this series could have just ended at the end of part 1, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, I that's the thing that drives me nuts because I like part 2 because I like Asa as a character.
Yeah,
a lot. But my God, it's like he forgot what he was doing, and then just like kept writing it from the seat of his pants. Holy shit! The art's beautiful, but my God.
No shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say it's ending, and it kind of at this point, I'm like, just let it end.
Yeah, if it happens, it happens. I just wanted to finish part 1 in the anime. After that, whatever.
Just do a movie for part 2. It'll be fine.
I think it's a little much for a movie, but okay.
They can cut a lot of that out and be fine, to be perfectly honest.
Yep.
I just think I just find it crazy. One last thing on manga. It just becomes more and more apparent every time. I'm like, a lot of these mangas, like, we're not getting long stories anymore.
No. And it's funny too, because I feel like the ones that we are getting long stories for tend to be like rom-coms and slice of lifes.
Even those aren't mega long anymore. Like, Like aside from like Comey, a lot of them are ending around like 20 volumes at most.
I mean, that's still decently long.
It's long, but it's like not as long as some series have been. 20 seems to be like the sweet spot lately, I've noticed.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because a lot of people are like, oh, we don't want to overstay our welcome. They've seen enough to learn from those mistakes. I mean, I doubt we're gonna see many other series that go for like One Piece length, but
Yeah. Um,
even the manga is insanely long. The only manga I can really think of that's longer than Naruto.
100 and like 12 volumes now, I think. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, actually, if you factor in Boruto into the Naruto run, then it might even be close to the same as One Piece. It'd still be a little under, I think, but it's not far off.
yeah. See, the thing about what makes One Piece impressive though is the fact that it's been the same writer and artist the entire way.
Hmm.
Because I know Baruto has a different artist, I believe, right?
At first, yes, but because uh Yamamoto, is that his name? I don't know.
Fujimoto.
Fujimoto, that's what it was. Yeah, he was busy with some stuff.
Actually,
After the Shippuden ended.
I think Fujimoto is actually
Kishimoto.
Fujimoto's the
Kishimoto.
Chainsaw Man guy.
Yeah, Kishimoto. But yeah, he was busy with some stuff after the Shippuden part of the manga ended, so he had another artist doing Boruto, and then like partway through, he was like, "All right, I'm done with that stuff. Move aside. I'm taking over."
Yeah, because I'm gonna say the art for that first part of Baruto is not the best.
Yeah, but I think currently he is doing the art for Boruto.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting one. We're not gonna. I just don't think we're gonna get super long like series anymore. Because like, I'm trying to think like Jujutsu Kaisen ended at 30.
Even that seems wild to me, based on like how much like it just seems like too much for that story.
Yeah, because I was thinking like
I feel like it did not need a sequel.
Yeah. Black Clover is still going, but that's at like 36 right now. I think there's 37 coming out.
Hmm.
That one's kind of in like that Hunter x Hunter situation though, where the writer's sick, so it's going to be very slow.
Well, this is a kind of a false equivalent because it's been going since the 80s, but JoJo is pretty long.
True.
They are bigger volumes, but
they're bigger volumes, and it's technically like broken up into different stories, but
I mean, technically, so are a lot of the other ones. There's
yeah,
like a part 1 and part 2 to Naruto. There's
One Piece is the exception, basically.
Yeah. And honestly, the Bleach manga is a lot longer than I would have expected based on the number of episodes.
Yeah. Well, it always surprised me when I realized like Inuyasha was like 52, 56 volumes or something like that.
That's crazy to me. That's another thing too. Is it's also funny how like an equal number of volumes doesn't necessarily mean an equal length series.
Oh yeah, like you read
Because like yeah.
You read Dragon Ball, that is quick. Like that is a quick read.
Yeah.
Because he's mostly just drawing.
Like, but then also like the anime adaptations for them. Like for instance, I mean, look at even just like, we'll be generous and say Kai. We'll say Dragon Ball Z Kai is what? It's like 140 episodes, give or take. And that covers the 25 or 26 volumes of Z. And then you look at Fullmetal Alchemist, which is arguably a much denser story.
Yeah.
With 27 volumes, that's only 64 episodes.
Yeah.
Or even Attack on Titan, which is 34 volumes, I think. And then it was like what, maybe just under 100 episodes at most.
But then you look at Yu Yu Hakusho, which is like 19 volumes, but it's like
19 volumes and 112 episodes. Yeah, it's funny how like the breaking up of these chapters and stuff in anime format like differs between different series.
Mm. Yeah, it's weird. Like it's just one of those things. Like that's why it's so weird. Like we're not getting a ton of like complete adaptions anymore, which is depressing because they like rush into these things and then they just don't finish them.
Well, that's part of the problem. Is like I understand why they're doing it for the most part, but like we don't need to make an anime adaptation like at like the fourth volume of a new manga. Like we can wait and give it some time. You know, like we don't have to just do it immediately.
Yes. No,
And,
but they got to
and
get out while the hype is
not
there.
every manga needs an anime. Not every manga needs an anime.
Sure, it does. We need rom-com
We
slice
need
of
so
life.
many, all the isekais, all of them.
Isekai number 12 needs a full anime adaptation because
Although most isekais are generally based off of light novels, but either way, you get my point.
yeah. It's one of those things. It's like crazy to me, but then you'll have like a fucking like something that's unexpected peak like Apothecary Diaries where you're like, holy shit, why is it so good?
Yeah. Yeah. Still got to read more of those.
Hmm.
And speaking of reading, like I decided that after I finish Watchmen, I'm gonna take a little break from comics and just read a couple of the novels I got. Like I want to read Howl.
Yeah.
I have a copy of Howl's Moving Castle and I want to read that. So I'm gonna put a pause in the comics for a little bit and read a couple books. And that way I can buy a few more comics and have a little bit of a stockpile for when I get back to them.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that works out.
See, what I'm curious is you're gonna read Leaping into the Light, and depending on how much you like that, you might be tempted to buy the rest of it.
Of Nightwing?
The Tom Taylor run, anyways,
Oh, okay.
because that's the first part of Tom Taylor's run.
I mean, for now, I'm just sticking to the compacts, just to, but I mean, as it goes on, I mean, I've already kind of branched out a little bit getting that static comic, but for now, I'm just sticking to the compacts until I get all of those, and then from there, we'll see.
Yeah, that run is very good. That's kind of the only reason I bring it up because it's like, damn.
So, should we get into our April Fool's topic?
If you'd like.
I know you're so thrilled.
All right.
So this is kind of a thing that I've been spitballing around because here's the thing. It's been said many times. Anyone who listens to any of Bill's shows knows he's not a Lord of the Rings guy. He's not into like that type of story. It's not his deal.
To describe it best, it is an instant phone grab movie for me.
I don't get it, but all right.
It just doesn't do it for me. I don't know what to tell you.
Fair enough. Which is crazy to me since you like Freerin so much. But anyways, so since we're never going to do like legitimate Lord of the Rings episodes, at least not with you here, I thought it would be fun for like an April Fool's thing. If I just explain the plot to you. So that might end up being a regular April Fool's thing we do every year because I doubt I'm going to get through the whole thing in one episode. And plus, there's a lot of lore to it, so I could go real deep. Start telling you some stories from the Silmarillion.
Yeah. How are you going to do it? Start from like The Hobbit and go from there, or?
I mean, I could. I was just going to start with Lord of the Rings. We can do the Hobbit. Fuck it.
Well, I know that's where it starts, but
you've read that one though, haven't you?
No, I never read The Hobbit.
Oh, I thought you read. Oh, you have a copy of it.
I have a copy of it because it was a summer reading project, and I read because I didn't read a single summer reading book. Not sorry.
All right, so
I played a little bit of the video game, so that's about my knowledge of The Hobbit.
Fair. I'm gonna be playing that pretty soon, actually. I'm excited. Anyways, yeah. So The Hobbit starts with Bilbo Baggins, who's just like this chill ass fucking Hobbit dude. Which hobbits are just like little tiny people with big ass feet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just sitting on his fucking front stoop, smoking some weed and reading his mail. And he sees this like big, huge fucking old dude with this giant beard walk by. And they kind of have like a little encounter. Like he's like splitting hairs on him or whatever. And he's just like, all right, whatever. Like come over and smoke a little bit with me, bro. And he's like, yeah, but I'm kind of looking for somebody to go on an adventure with some friends of mine. And Bilbo is instantly like, nah, I don't think so. Not happening. I'm not trying to go on no adventures. So, a couple of days pass and he hears a knock on his door. And it's just a dwarf there. And he's like, all right, that's weird. He's like, but, he's a polite dude. So he's going to be like, all right, so, yeah, you can come in and have some tea with me or whatever. It's fine. And he like, and it's weird because the dwarf is acting like he's expected. So like he's going about his thing, like they're just kind of hanging out, and then here's another knock. It is another dwarf, and this keeps happening over and over until there's 13 dwarves plus Gandalf just chilling out in this house, and they get into this whole thing about how they used to live in this kingdom in a mountain, and they were like rich beyond belief. They had all this gold and all these precious treasures and magic toys and shit that they've been making for generations, and then a dragon came down and just fucking like killed everybody and just plopped itself on the fucking mountain. It's just like, I live here now. So all these kings and noble dwarves and shit just kind of became like blacksmiths and shit because that was all they could do. And now for whatever reason they're like, all right, we're gonna go and storm the mountain and take back our treasure with 13 dwarves. But they need an extra person because 13 is a bad number. So they need somebody else. So Gandalf's like, I got just the guy in mind. So they're trying to get Bilbo to go on this trip. And he's like, fuck that shit. Like, I'm just trying to smoke my weed and eat my food. Like, that's all I care about. But eventually they do end up kind of like getting it into his head. And he eventually, spur of the moment, decides like, all right, I'm going to go. Fuck it. Adventure time. So they're traveling down. They're on their way, and they fucking they're just having a bad day. Right? It's just fucking. It's raining. It's shitty out. Like they can't get a fire going. It's cold as shit. Like they're just not having a good time. And they see a light in the distance. They're like, oh shit, there's a campfire over there or something. Like, maybe we should go over and see if they got some food. We lost a bunch of our food. And they go up, and there's just like these. Or Bilbo goes up because they're like you'll find this is like a theme throughout this book is they constantly send Bilbo to do the shit they don't want to do. So they send Bilbo. They go check out what's going on, get us some food or something, or see if we can go chill with them. So he goes over, and there's just these 3 fucking huge ass trolls there, and they're just fucking eating mutton and arguing with each other. And like Bilbo gets like this weird idea in his head. Like he could just be like, oh fuck, these are trolls. I gotta get out of here. But he gets this weird idea in his head where he's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna pickpocket these motherfuckers. So he makes the attempt. He reaches into the pocket. He pulls out his like fucking wallet or purse or whatever the fuck Tolkien calls it. But it has been like enchanted or something because the purse called him out. He was just like, hey, what the fuck? You're not my owner. And the trolls noticed, and they picked him up, and they're like, what the fuck are you? He's like, can we eat him? It looks good. Like, let's see if we can find some more, and we'll make like a big thing of it. And eventually, the dwarves are like, he hasn't come back, and he hasn't made a signal, so I guess we'll go and check on him. And the trolls jump him. There's like a big scuffle. And ultimately, the dwarves are defeated, and they tie them all up in sacks. And they're like, all right, so we're going to go and get the supplies, and we're going to cook them up and have a great meal out of it. And then, like, Gandalf starts fucking with them from the distance because he keeps trying to do, like, voice impressions, like, making them argue amongst themselves until the sun comes up. Because when the sun comes up, they all turn to stone. So basically just gets them to argue with each other until the sun comes up and they all turn to stone and everyone's saved. So from this point, they're like, oh, the trolls have to have like a place to hide from the sun, a place they hide during the day. So they go off and they find their troll cave. And they find they actually have a decent stockpile of like gold and clothes and fucking even some weapons. And they actually find a couple like really fancy, like ancient weapons, like famous weapons. And of course, you know, Gandalf and the leader of the dwarves each get one. And Bilbo just takes like this little fucking like letter opener. And like he's like, yeah, that's good enough for me. I'm like 2.5 feet tall. It's fine. And so from there, they're like, all right, so we should probably just, you know, take whatever food they had, bury the gold they had, and save it for later, and we'll just go on our way. And they end up traveling to this like elf fortress or whatever. There's like this hidden magical place called Rivendell, and they go up and they meet with the Lord there, Elrond, and they're like, all right, so we got this map here of this mountain we're trying to get to, and there's like these fancy elf letters here, and we don't know how to read them. He's like, can you read them? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, I can do that. And he's like, all right, there's a hidden door here, so you could totally use that to get in and steal some of the treasure or kill the dragon or whatever the fuck you just want to do. They're like, all right, cool. And they hook them up with some food and they send them on their way. So they you know, they're traveling down. They're, you know, at this point, you know, it's a decent time traveling. You know, they're having an all right time. But, you know, things just tend to get worse and worse throughout this journey. So they're traveling along. They have to climb over these mountains, this whole mountain range to go where they're going. And they end up finding a cave on the way up. And, of course, it's raining again because, you know, why not? So they're like, all right, we found this cave. We're going to go hide in the cave and rest and, you know, have some food, get some sleep. Hopefully the rain will pass and we can continue on. And until like a crevice in the back of the cave opens up and a bunch of fucking goblins come out. And they just fucking like nab everybody except Gandalf because he manages to get away because, you know, nobody gets the better than Gandalf. So he gets away, but the dwarves all get taken. Bilbo gets taken. And they all get taken to the Goblin King. And the Goblin King's like, all right, I don't like dwarves, so you're all going to be our slaves. Or we'll eat you, whatever. Until fucking, they're like, oh, we found this sword on them. And it was one of the really fancy swords they had. And apparently this sword had a reputation for killing goblins. So they got real mad about it. They're like, oh, he's a fucking piece of shit. We're just going to eat you right now. And then Gandalf comes in. He fucking puts out all the lights, kills the Goblin King, and starts herding them away. But at some point, and you know, Bilbo's short. You know, he's a sheltered hobbit. He's just been doing his thing for 50 years because he's 50. And so each of the dwarves had to take turns carrying him because he couldn't run as fast as them. But eventually, one of them drops him, and he like falls into this crevice. And they're like, "All right, well, fuck, we lost him, so just keep going." And he like, you know, at this point, he's like separated entirely. Like he's far away from the dwarves, the goblins, everything, and he gets knocked unconscious. And when he wakes up, he ends up like down by like this little underground pool, and he meets Gollum there. And he found the ring on the ground first. He found the ring, stuck it in his pocket. He's like, "Oh, that's cool. Take it as a souvenir." And then he goes and meets Gollum, and Gollum's like, "I kind of want to eat you. I'm not that hungry, but you know, I'm curious enough to try it." And Bilbo's like, "Yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that. You want to play a game instead?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's play some riddles. I like riddles." So they take turns giving each other riddles. And basically, like the rules they set was, you know, if Bilbo wins, then Gollum will show him the way out. If Gollum wins, then Bilbo will let himself be eaten without a fuss. They take turns going back and forth with these riddles, and they're both on point throughout the whole thing. And then eventually Gollum's like, "All right, last round, ask me a riddle," and Bilbo is just like can't think of one, and like Gollum is rushing him, and like as this is going on, like Bilbo feels inside his pocket. He totally forgotten about the ring, and he's just talking to himself. He's like, "What do I have in my pocket?" And Gollum takes that as the riddle, and he's like, "Well, that's bullshit. You can't just do that." But Bilbo doubles down, and Gollum accepts the question. And you know, he gives 3 guesses, gets it wrong each time, and he's like, "All right, fuck, whatever." But Gollum's a slimy piece of shit, so he's like, "All right, I'll be right back to go get something that will be useful to show you out. And he goes back to his little like live-in area, his little apartment, whatever you want to call it. And he's going to look for the ring because the ring can make you invisible. So he was going to go and put on the ring, turn invisible, and then go kill Bilbo. But obviously Bilbo found it, so he doesn't have it. He starts freaking the fuck out. Where's my ring? Where's my ring? And then he's like, he realizes like, oh, maybe that's what was in his pocket. And he gets real mad, starts chasing him. And then Bilbo trips. The ring accidentally goes in his finger. He turns invisible. And that's when he realizes like Gollum goes by him without seeing him. And he realizes like, oh shit, like this is a magic ring. And he ends up just following Gollum because Gollum assumes that he knows the way out and he's just fucking with him. And Gollum leads him unknowingly out. But ultimately Bilbo's able to get out of the mountains, and he ends up meeting back up with the dwarves and the hobbit and in Gandalf. And they're like, all right, so we gotta beat feet because we just killed the Goblin King. We just pissed a whole lot of them off. So as soon as the sun goes down, they're gonna be on us. So we gotta go. So, but they don't have a whole lot of time. So the sun goes down and they start hearing this howling. And there was like a meeting between the goblins and the wolves because wolves talk too, because fuck it, why not?
Sure.
Yeah. So like the goblins and the wolves are having this fucking meetup, and it just so happens to be exactly where they were, where the meetup was planned to happen. So all the dwarves and Gandalf and Bilbo, they all climb these trees because they're like, oh, fucking wolves can't climb trees. It's fine. But the goblins are there, and they're like, fuck it, we're just going to set them on fire. And they're like taunting them and singing at them and shit because, there's a lot of singing in this book.
Yep.
And eventually Gandalf, I don't know how he got their attention, but the mighty eagles flew down from the mountain and picked them all out of the tree and flew them like pretty much half of the way to the mountain. They got all the way like so far away that they didn't have to worry about the goblins or the wolves. Like they're good. They drop them down and they're like, all right, cool. So have a nice day. And Gandalf's like, all right, so I know a place we can stay. But he's not the nicest dude in the world. Like I could probably get him to let us stay there, but he also doesn't like dwarves very much. And I don't actually know him personally, but I know he knows my cousin, so it's like kind of a friend of a friend situation. So they go there, and it's the big fucking burly ass hairy dude, right? And because he's a skin changer, he's basically he's a werebear. I'll call it what it is. He's a werebear. He can just turn into a bear whenever he wants. And they go there, and he's like eventually like relents and is like, all right, fine, you can stay here for a couple of days. I'll feed you, I'll give you supplies, and send you on your way. And ultimately they do that. They go to the edge of this like big wooded area called Mirkwood. And Mirkwood's like a real bad place, like there's like all sorts of crazy monsters and magic shit going on. So like they're like, all right, we gotta be real careful about how we do this. They gotta stay on the trail because it's like a magic trail that the elves made. So like we'll be safe as long as we stay on the trail, it'll be fine. So obviously, they're not gonna stay on the trail. Because they start going through, and then the path through ends up taking a lot. Oh, I forgot to mention, Gandalf left before they went in the forest. He was like, I got some shit to do, important wizard business. So, I'm out. I might catch up with you later. I might not. We'll see. So it's just the dwarves and Bilbo now. They're going through the woods. And the journey's taking a lot longer than they thought it would. They're running out of food. They're running out of water. And, they get to a point where they're trying to fucking like hunt squirrels and deer and shit in the forest, and it's just not working out. And then eventually they see fire in the distance. They're like, oh, this worked out so great for us last time. Let's go do it again. So they go off the trail to go and find, the source of the light. And it's all these fucking elves just partying in the woods. They just fucking getting crunk as shit, having a great time. And they walk into the clearing to go and ask them for food, and all the lights go out. Everybody scatters. They all just run off. And, now it's dark. They left the path. They have no idea where they're going. They're looking for all their friends and shit. Like, they're just, they're having a rough time. And then eventually they see the light again in the distance. Like, all right, we'll go try again, I guess. And they do. The lights go out. Everything's crazy. Whatever. It's not working out. And then after that time, there was a whole issue where the leader of the dwarves, the guy who's actually the heir to the throne of that mountain, he actually gets taken prisoner by the elves after they put out the lights. So all the other dwarves and Bilbo are just like lost and blind in the woods. And the leader got taken away prisoner into like the elf kingdom. And then these fucking big ass spiders come out and they just start like cocooning all the dwarves. And yeah, so they're all like hanging from trees and shit. Bilbo like wakes up and there's like there's a spider that's trying to wrap him up. He's got like his feet wrapped up. He's working his way up. And he freaks out. He pulls out his little letter opener and fucking kills the spider. And he's like, all right, well, I guess I got to go do the thing. So he goes over and he puts his ring on. He's fucking traveling through. He's cutting down the dwarves. He's killing the spiders. He's like singing at them and shit, making fun of them. And eventually they end up killing a bunch of them, but they end up fending them off. And then they get to a point where, they're trying to travel through. They've completely lost the trail at this point. So they're completely lost. And eventually they get jumped by the elves because they're like, all right, we've had enough of you assholes in our woods. And Bilbo like puts on the ring and slips off to the side before they catch him. So, he's still technically free, even though he's lost. But the dwarves all get carted away to like the elf kingdom. So they're all in the dungeon. All the dwarves are in the dungeon. Bilbo is just kind of like invisible and sneaking in and out and trying to figure out a way to break them out of jail. And like it goes on like this for like a good few weeks. Like he's just like fucking invisible, just stealing food from them and shit. Till eventually he realizes that they import their wine from the town that they're on their way to. And they use the river to send the empty barrels back because the river goes straight through the kingdom and goes all the way down to where the mountain is. So what he does is he waits until there's a big fucking party night and all the elves are drunk as fuck, right? So he goes and he nabs the keys from the jailer and he lets them all out of their cages and he leads them back down to like the winery or whatever, the fucking wine storage room. And he seals them up into empty barrels and dumps them into the river. And then he realizes that there's nobody to put him in a barrel, so he just kind of has to wing it. And he jumps out, and he's just like clinging to a barrel for dear life. And they're all just going down the river. And till eventually Bilbo is able to get up, he following them down, gets them all out of the barrels. And they're not having a good time. They're all fucking soaked. They're all beaten and bruised from going down the rapids and shit in the barrel. But eventually they managed to make their way down to the lake town, which is at the foot of the mountain that they've been on their way to the whole time. And they pretty much convince everybody there, like, yes, we are the dwarves that came from the mountain. I am the heir. If you give us help and food and weapons and shit, then we're going to go up and we're going to get rid of that dragon and we're going to shower you with riches for the part you played in it.
Okay.
And so eventually, after they have their fill of partying there, they are on their way to the mountain. And they get all the way up to the secret door. They manage to open it. And they're like, all right, Bilbo, go. Time to go and fucking sneak in and steal something. Let's see what you're made of. And it's like, all right, fine, whatever. So he goes down the fucking hallway, and the dragon like gathered up all the gold and jewels and treasure and shit, just piled it up in this big fucking pile where the tunnel comes out, and it's just fucking sleeping there. And he's like, all right, I'm just gonna grab this goblet here and just run back up. He's like, hey, check out what I got. And then they hear this roar at the bottom. They're like, oh fuck, he noticed. He's like, I don't know how the fuck he noticed the one cup missing, but all right, whatever. So he's like, all right, I'm going to go back down and see what I can do. And he goes back down. He's wearing the ring, so, he's invisible. But, dragons get a good sense of smell. So he noticed immediately as soon as he got down. And Smaug the dragon starts talking to him like, yeah, you come to take something else, whatever. And he's just taunting him, being like, oh, the dwarves are going to betray you. They're not actually going to pay you. And go through this whole fucking spiel, just trying to like fucking trick him into revealing himself. And then eventually Bilbo taunts him just a little bit too much and really pisses him off. But he runs up the tunnel trying to escape. And then the dragon comes out and he's all fucking pissed off. And he assumes that like the people in the town near the mountain are behind it. You know, that they set him up to it. So he comes out, he's all pissed off. He smashes the side of the mountain to seal off the tunnel. Then he flies down to the town to fucking kill everybody. And at this point, fucking the dwarves and Bilbo are all just in the tunnel that's sealed off, at least from the outside. They could go back down into like the inner treasure chamber, but that's the only place they can go. And the dragon flies down to the town. He's just fucking killing everybody, right? But then like this one random ass dude named Bard, he's a boatman or a fisherman or something.
A boatman.
Yeah, and he just fucking pulls out a fucking bow and arrow and just fucking pegs it and just takes it down like nothing. And the dragon falls into the lake and just fucking drowns. He's dead. And then eventually, you know, the dwarves and Bilbo, like, enough time passes that they're like, I don't think he's coming back. I don't know what happened, but it's been like days. He's not coming back. And so they're all like partying, like, yeah, we got all this treasure. Everything's great. We did the thing. We did the thing we came out to do. And eventually all the townspeople come up and they're like, hey, so like you kind of sicked a dragon on us. And like a third of our people are dead and all of our shit's destroyed and it's almost winter. We can kind of use some of that money you promised us so we could, you know, rebuild and survive the winter. And at this point, like the fucking like what they call the dragon sickness has taken hold of the leader of the dwarves, and he's just like, no, fuck that. This is my gold. You don't get any of it. Not a single cup. And they're like, what the fuck, dude? That's bullshit. Like we hooked you up. You said you would give us the shit. Like, we're not even asking for like a percentage. We just want to fix our shit and not freeze to death. And he's like, no, fuck that. Get out. And then eventually all the elves show up and they're like, you broke out of our prison. Give us gold too. So now like the men of the lake and the elves from the kingdom in the forest they're working together now. They're like, all right, seriously, bro, like quit being an asshole and give us what's owed. And he's like, no. So eventually they're like, all right, well, if you don't do what you promised, we're gonna fucking come in there. There's only 13 of you and we have a literal army, so do the smart thing. But then the Thorin, the dwarf guy, his cousin shows up with an army of dwarves because he's like, hey, we heard you did the thing with the mountain. We came to help. And so now we got, you know, the dwarves, elves, and men, like armies for all three. And they're like right about to start getting into it. Like they're about to start killing each other. And then all the fucking goblins and wolves from before fucking show up because they've been following them the whole time. Apparently, they're that pissed off about their king. They've been following them this whole time to go and kill them. They all show up, and that's when just the shit hits the fan. They're like, "Oh, you have way more than all of us combined. We're gonna have to work together to fucking overcome this." And ultimately, they are able to. They do fend off or kill all of the orcs and goblins and wolves that show up. But a lot of people died. Two of the dwarves that they were traveling with died, and the king who didn't want to give up his gold is like in the act of dying. Like he's got like, you know, maybe an hour left. And Bilbo goes to see him, and he's just like, "Ah, man, dude, this sucks. Like, I'm not into this." And he's just like, "No, you know, I was wrong. I was an asshole. You know, we should all just, you know, like simple pleasures like food and drink and you know, a warm fireplace and, you know, it's the usual shit that people want. Like that's what life should be about, not gold." And then he dies. So that was kind of sad. But, you know, shit happens.
It sure does.
Yeah. So like eventually his cousin is like, all right, I'm the king now. And like I'm going to actually respect the agreements made, and I'm going to pay you this much. I'm going to pay you this much, and so on. They give Bilbo some money, but it's not. He was technically owed a lot more, but he was like, how the fuck am I going to get all that back? Like it took us like 6 months to get here, dude. How the fuck am I going to bring all that gold to my house? Like, it's not realistic. He just took a little bit, and enough to last him a good 60 years at least. But he's like, I don't need all that. And then eventually, him and Gandalf, who was also back, I forgot to mention, they're like, all right, we're gonna go back. I'm going back to my house because I've had enough of this shit. And they go all the way back. They stop in Rivendell again on the way back and just party with the elves a little bit more. And then when Bilbo gets home, he realizes that he's been gone for a year, and everyone assumed he was dead, and they're auctioning off his house.
Did you hate it when that happens?
Yeah, so he had to go and deal with that. He had to go and fucking fight with his cousin that was stealing his spoons and shit. It was a whole thing.
Not the spoon.
They never silver. Well, it was silver, so yeah.
Oh, fair.
Because just for the record, like his family was pretty well off.
Yeah,
generational wealth before all this happened. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, that's pretty much where the story ends. He's back at home and has to buy back all of his shit because they all stole it.
So a classic. The journey was not worth it in the end story.
I mean, he still had all the money and he had the magic ring, so he still came out ahead.
But his spoons, man.
Financially, at least, he came out ahead. He had to deal with his friends dying, but it happens.
Taking his spoons, though, man.
I know, it's some fancy ass spoons, man. What do you want from me? But yeah, that's in a nutshell the story of the Hobbit. I skipped over some details, but that's the nuts and bolts of it.
Well, you managed to cram it down much better than they did in the movies.
Yeah, I got it down to like 25 minutes.
Yes, it didn't need to be 3 fucking movies. That's for sure.
No, they could have gone away with 2 movies, would have been fine, but that would have broken the whole trilogy thing. So,
yeah, gotta make that money.
Maybe one day I'll make you watch the animated movie.
Maybe you might have a
chance. It's only an hour and a half. It's only an hour and
a half. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. I try, and I try. It's like, for some reason, like people, like we just have these things that like we just can't get into, no matter how hard we try. And for me, whatever reason, it's Lord of the Rings.
So sad. It's like the ultimate story.
I guess. I don't know. I something about it, man. Something about it just doesn't do it.
To each their own, I guess. But
did you ever play that game based on Lord of the Rings that came out?
Which one?
Tales of the Shire or whatever.
No, not that one. That was one of the recent ones, right? No, I played the old ones. I played like the 3 game Fellowship, 2 Towers, and Return of the King. Which there was a weird thing behind that because Fellowship was a completely different game because that one was based off the books, and then 2 Towers, and Return of the King were based off the movies, and they were completely different games, like completely separate mechanics and battle system was entirely different.
I know the Hobbit game's based off the book.
I think The Hobbit and Fellowship were based off the books, and then 2 Towers and Return of the King, since the movies just came out, were based around the movies and had like all these cutscenes and stuff. Literally just scenes from the movies.
The Hobbit game predates the book by the movie by like years. So
yeah. Well, yeah, because we didn't even get a Hobbit movie until like 2012. So, well, like aside from the Rankin Bass one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Matt's abridged version of The Hobbit.
This is very, very abridged. Although it would have gone a lot longer if I was doing Lord of the Rings. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that's for next year.
That's for next year. I'm probably gonna hit it in chunks too. I'm not gonna do the whole Lord of the Rings. I'll probably do like Fellowship first. Just go out there.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You know, the best is too. I'm gonna like not even mention this in the thumbnail at all, and it's just gonna be a thing that just happens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'll be a true April Fool's surprise.
Fair. For all 12 people who listen to it.
Hey, we got what are we sitting at now for our view counts per episode? I can check my analytics. We average. This doesn't help me.
The 12?
we average about 12 per episode.
Yes, I called it.
Hey. We're doing something, I guess. Episode rankings. Wonderful. The Inuyasha episodes are still far and above our most listened to ones.
Which is crazy.
Granted, though, the original Dragon Ball episode had a lot more views on the original feed, not compared to where it is now. So
that's fair. That's fair. Well, it was being on the GNC feed, you had all those built-in people. It was like, oh, look, bonus episode, 4 hours, cool.
Yeah. And then it was fucking up our listenership on both shows, and I was like, well, we got to figure something out here. So
yeah, whatever though. It
made it work.
It was a fun experiment to start, at least. Kind of made it a little difficult finding our footing once we moved over to our own feed, but
it's better. It's better this way though, because now it's not just buried in the GNC feed.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, that was a decent catching up episode. It's been a bit. Hopefully, we're getting close. It's spring now, so hopefully that means we're done with snow and we can actually move on and have a normalcy again.
I was hearing rumblings about some snow over the next couple of days, but because it's like mid-40s and higher, it's not going to stick even if it does snow. So whatever.
Yeah,
just watering the plants at this point.
Yeah, my app right now is saying a lot of rain these next couple of days. So hopefully that'll wash up all that salt and just get rid of that.
Oh, dude, I was so mad last week when we had that big windstorm because it fucking knocked out our power for a day.
Oh, did it?
I was so mad because we just went through the whole thing with the big snowstorm that knocked out our power for like 2-3 days. And we lost all of our fucking food that time.
Ugh.
And I was really worried it was going to happen again. But when the power came on, Cindy checked and all the frozen stuff was still frozen. Thank God.
Yeah, I think if you leave the fridge closed, you should be okay for at least a couple days.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately, you guys unfortunately just had that awkward situation where it was warmer outside than it was inside.
Yeah.
Which just sucks.
Especially in our house. It's just something about our house. Unless it's hitting like 85, 90 degrees, our house is always colder than outside.
Oh, you know what's crazy? I just found out. Anime Boston is like in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I really wanted to go this year, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, even if I wanted to at this point, it's too late to get a ticket. But
I know me and Alex, I guess, have the tickets coming soon. So we'll be doing that for one of our 3 conventions this year.
Maybe next year. Assuming you guys, if you guys are going, at least I'm not gonna bother if you guys aren't going.
Yeah, I'll see how it goes this year. I had a bad impression of it last time I went, but that was also the first year after COVID.
Yeah, that could be a big part of it. They've had a few years to fix it since then. So.
Yeah. So we'll see. I just remember their COVID protocols were like super overboard. Like there was just something ridiculous about they're acting like it's still like peak 2020 in there, and then you take a step outside of the adjoining mall and it's like nothing ever happened. I'm like, this makes sense. Like this is sure, whatever.
It's about right.
Yeah, it was so dumb because they like overbooked that con too because there was like way too many people in there.
Well, it was all the people who already had tickets for the previous one, and then all the people who bought tickets for that one. So
yeah. Oh yeah, no, it was absurd. Like it was so just. It was also like you could tell all those people had not left their house in like 2 years because my God, they had no social fucking standards.
And it was not to mention. I could only imagine the stench.
The stench wasn't the worst. I mean, it was pretty average. It was more just like people were fucking rude, like just cutting you. Like
Yeah.
the fucking thing that drove me nuts was that was like the start of like the people like with like fucking iPads like taking photos of people's art and then like running off.
Hmm.
I was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, that's shitty.
Now they I think now they like they'll kick you out if they catch you doing that, so that's good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we have that coming up. I'm sure me and Alex will do an episode on that going forward.
Very nice. Very nice.
And I got my taxes done, so hopefully I'll have some get all my credit cards paid off, and that'll be good.
There you go. We already did that. We're actually down to almost none of it left. We had to pay up all the credit cards, and then I got my thing. We got a bunch of shit. We actually just completely like redid the living room today with like all
Nice.
new furniture and stuff that we built and ordered and stuff. That cost a decent amount. And then yesterday we got Cindy a new phone because she's been running off a $30 Walmart phone for the past like year. So
Nice.
got her a new phone finally, and she's very happy with it.
That's good.
So yeah, we're pretty much getting out of the taxes. There's like a couple, like maybe a few $100 left from the taxes, but
Yeah.
we got done what we needed to get done. So that's the important thing.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna pay my credit cards off, and then whatever's left, I'll probably use for Anime Boston.
There you go.
So that'll be good.
There you go. Anything in particular you're gonna be looking out for, or are you just gonna kind of see where the chips lie?
Just gonna see where the chips lie this year. I'm probably gonna look at manga because I know their manga stuff is really big.
Yeah, there's usually a lot of manga there, at least when I went. So
I'm gonna try not to buy a lot of crap that I don't really need. I'm gonna look for practical stuff that I'll actually do something with.
yeah, okay.
I'll look at anime too. I haven't bought a lot of anime in a while, so maybe because I'm starting to lean more into pro physical media again. So
I've always been a fan of physical media.
I have two, but God, those anime Blu-ray box sets are fucking expensive, man.
You know, it depends on the series. You know,
anything by Funny is Crunchyroll is like ridiculous nowadays. Like I see
if you're getting like new series and shit, like yeah, it's gonna cost you.
Oh, even some older. Even some older ones like fucking Death Parade, like I feel bad now.
That old.
It's not, but it's just you can't get it anywhere now. So now it's the Blu-rays have shot up in price.
Yeah. That figures. Do you have that one?
I do. I got it at Walmart like years ago.
Oh wow. Well, I guess I'll have to steal that from you when next time I see you.
Yeah.
Although Persona 4, the animation is my top priority because I need to watch that.
Yeah. I've not watched that in forever. I gotta do that again at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that should be good for this little catch-up episode. Pretty relaxed one this time around. But yeah. Anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That's superpodnetwork.com. Awesome site where you can find a whole bunch of different podcasts, videos, blogs. Look out for, we have a series of blogs coming out pretty soon on our favorite Game Boy Advance games. I know I contributed. Threk also contributed. So check those out. Whenever.
I already wrote a blog about my favorite Game Boy Advance games, so I feel like it would just be repeating myself.
Fair. Yeah, so whenever Aaron gets around to posting those, they'll be up, I guess. And other than that, I think that's just about it. So anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all later.
Have a good one.